Hi there, welcome back. Welcome back to the Grundig Satellit 3400. In this video, I'm tackling the alignment. I'm doing the alignment of the first 4 AM bands. That's long wave, medium wave, shortwave 1 and shortwave 2. I've tried to make it as detailed as possible. There may be some detail I would have liked to include, but that would have been just a bit of an extravagance because it's incredibly time consuming to actually not to do the alignment. The alignment's very easy. To film it, that's the problem, because there's so many little things you need to show at the same time, and I failed at film school. So until this channel grows to the point where I can hire a production team, which will never happen, this is the best I can do. So moving cameras around, making sure that the cameras are actually on and the audio is synced and everything else is actually a bit of a pain. That's the part of the hobby that I'm still sort of improving on, or trying to improve on. I hope it comes across as informative, and I hope that it can serve to help anybody who wants to do their alignment. As I mentioned before, these radios are becoming increasingly popular. I know that all of them are of a certain age. The majority of them being sold on eBay are not restored, and most of them won't be aligned if they do go out of alignment. So we'll see how it comes along. Anyway, this video, first 4 channels of the first 4 bands of the AM, that will then leave the drum tuner, which has a lot of alignments to do. And I'll probably not tackle this on this video because, as I said, it's time consuming. If this is something that interests you, stick around. If it's not, keep it for future reference. Enjoy. And here we are. We've come to the AM RF alignments. We're going to start with these channels, these bands, long wave, medium wave, shortwave 1 and shortwave 2. These are the bands that do not use the turret tuner. We can see here we've got various adjustments we need to make on each of these bands. Let's focus on long wave for a start. They tell us we're going to test at 160 kilohertz, then at 370, then at 240. And for each of these, we've got their respective adjustments to make. Just a note, this ferrite antenna circuit is rather different. So in the case of the long wave and medium wave, besides the actual aerial circuit, we've also got those adjustments to make. But just a note here, I was going to explain exactly what it is we're doing, and I realized I've done that very intensively and very detailed in a previous video. And that was a video for the Grundig Satellit 2100. I was going to do it, I went to see it myself, and I think I've done it well enough there. Not worth repeating everything. These videos are really dragging on. So if you want to see the explanation as to what it is we're doing, how the alignment works, what it is we're aligning and why, go and look at that video that I'll link above. Okay, so first things first. We're starting with long wave. We're going to adjust for 160 kilohertz. We're going to set 160 on the dial pointer. And then we need to adjust 1 for oscillator, 3 for the filter circuit, and 6 for the aerial circuit. I'll leave that for now. Then we change that tuning. We tune to 370 on the dial, and we adjust 2 for the oscillator, 4 for the filter circuit, 7 for the aerial circuit. And then we go to the middle there at about 240, and we adjust 5 for a maximum. Now, there are a lot of numbers here, a lot of adjustment points, and it might seem quite complex. This stuff here just makes it even worse. I don't really relate much to that because my equipment is not calibrated enough or precise enough to really go into getting precise microvolt levels, as I mentioned before. But we do have one very important tool that makes this job a lot easier, and that is this part of the service manual. Now, they give us all these numbers up here, as you can see. And guess what? They correspond to those numbers of adjustments we need to make, and they're actually pointing down. For example, 1 over here is indicating, what is that? That's a trim cap, I think it is, a capacitor. So it's indicating there. 2 is indicating that one there, and so on and so forth. So it's actually quite easy if we follow these instructions. It gets a little bit busy, and for that reason, I've just done a bit of a cheat chart, which will make this a lot easier. Watch this. What I've done is I've taken those instructions and I've actually painted them in here, which makes it easier to find our way around the back of the radio. So the long wave 160 kilohertz setting requires us to adjust 1, which is that guy there, 3, which is that guy there, and 6, which is that guy there. And if you remember that chart we saw, 1 is the oscillator, 3 is the filter circuit, and 6 is the aerial circuit. 8 is to be done in a different setup. We need to create a loop to let the ferrite antenna pick up the signal, but I'll do that last. I'll do the medium wave and short wave aerial adjustment together. Now, the one thing I like to do is I like to do the oscillator sections first, both for the low frequency and the high frequency. And here we have the 370. So I've also done the cheat sheet for this one. What I'll do is I'll do oscillator for 160. I'll do oscillator for 370, get those perfectly lined up. I might have to go back a couple of times. And then when I do the aerial circuit, I do that together. When I do the filter circuit, I do that together, and so on. I go between the lower frequency and the upper frequency and do those together. So this is the cheat sheet for the long wave 370. So again, it's 2, 4, 7, and then 9 is the ferrite antenna adjustment. And there's one more. There is, of course, that adjustment for 240 kilohertz, where you adjust 0.5. So now we've got all the cheat sheets for the 3 adjustments, or 3 frequencies that we need to adjust on long wave, and we're ready to go. There's one more detail we need to worry about, and that is look at the order or any instructions they give us. They tell us that the oscillator can be aligned in any sequence, and for the filter circuit, you need to first do K1 and then K2. That means the one actually sort of depends on the other, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to do it in this order anyway, so I'll be doing K1 first. Note the basic coil positions. The ferrite aerial circuit is aligned in the sequence long wave, medium wave. That's another sequence, and I'll be doing long wave before medium wave. To tune the long wave and medium wave aerial circuits when an external antenna is used, in other words, when these settings are used, the signal generator is connected via a 68 picofarad capacitor to the external aerial socket with the external aerial button depressed. So you don't connect direct to that point, you actually buffer it through a small capacitor. And to tune the shortwave aerial, in other words, these two, that one and that one, with the Y button, with the antenna button not depressed, you connect the signal generator directly to the rod antenna. You don't depress that button because you want the rod antenna to be active. So as long as we remember this, it should be easy to set this up. Let's get started. So we start by producing the 160 kilohertz in the signal generator. 160 kilohertz carrier. Amplitude, I've put it at the minimum that this will go to. I'm not sure how much I'll need. I can adjust that later. I've got modulation. It's AM modulation. Depth of 50% or 30%. AM frequency, 600 hertz tone, just for a change. I've got the channel on. As usual, it comes from the signal generator into this switched by attenuator. I can give it 3, 6, 12, 24 dBs of attenuation, depending on how much I need. It comes out of here, and it's coming into the external antenna connector, ground, and I've got a 68 picofarad capacitor over there receiving the signal. It's probably not the right cap, that's more for audio, but it'll do. And I've got this multimeter set to AC volts. I'm not sure what level I need. I'll put it on 0.3 volts. It's reading straight across the speaker output. The speaker's connected, the external speaker's connected, but it's gone to the switcher, the dummy load switcher, so I can turn it off. We don't need to hear the noise, but we'll get the reading on here anyway. As I've said before, I like this meter because it gives us the deflection rather than numbers jumping around all over the screen. We make sure we've got long wave selected. I've got external speaker selected. And I'm going to set it to 160. There's a little notch over there. You can just see it. So it is exactly on 160 at the moment, okay? Right, I've got it on 160, so I'm going to put the volume up. We can hear it. I'll take it off speaker and be ready to adjust 1. That was pretty much spot on. Not much changed at all. Now I'll change the dial to 370. There's another little notch over there. And I'm aligning it from my point of view, which is slightly different to the camera's, but it's right on 370. Change the signal generator. Yeah, not bad. Let me see where it is. Damn, that is exactly on top. I'm not adjusting anything there, but if I had to, it would be 2, which is the one just above that one. It would be that one there. Okay, that's number 2. But that is perfect. Now what I'm going to do, put the sound off, dummy load. While I'm on 370, I can actually do the filter circuit, which is 4. It's got a nice ball of wax in there. I need to remove the wax very carefully. Give it some volume. Now here's a perfect example of what not to do. Let me see if I can show you what I've done here. You see that little wire over there? That little wire? When I was removing the wax from that lug, I pulled this away from there. So this is where you got to be extremely careful. I now have to resolder that on there. It's not a problem, but you hear that? I suddenly stopped getting audio, and it's because I disconnected that wire. So you've got to be extremely, extremely careful. Now let's see if that was worth it. I've soldered it back. And let's see if we get any joy out of this. Ah, we got a little bit. We got a little bit. Well, at least that was worth it. Now that was at 370. Now if we want to do the next one on 160, that'll be number 3. And 3 is third one down here. So it's that guy there. So I'll put that on 160. Give it audio so we can hear it. Back to 160 on the dial. Get rid of the noise. There we go. We got a little bit there as well. So I guess that was worth it. Now the antenna circuit, while we're on 160, we do 6, which is that guy over there. This one is also full of wax, so we'll try that. I'm getting very little. So almost no change at all. So we'll go up to 370 again. 370 on the signal generator. 370 on here. And this time we do 9, which is the third one up here. Hardly anything. I'll call that nothing, but I'll also call that done for long wave. That is with a fixed antenna. So we finished the RF alignment for long wave with the external antenna. I'm going to do medium wave next, and then I'll do the ferrite antenna, the two of them together. Okay. Right, so we've completed long wave, or part of long wave. I did the 160. I did these. I did not do 8. I did the 370, did these, did not do 9. And although I forgot to tape it, forgot to put the camera on, I did do this one, There was not much to adjust there at all. I left 8 and 9 for once we've done the medium wave. And that's what I'm going to be doing next. Medium wave, I'll set it to 560. I'll adjust 10, and then I will set it to 1450 and adjust 11. As I mentioned in the previous section, I like to do the oscillator first. Then I go down to 560 again, check if that one is fine, and then I will do 12 and probably 13 or 15 there. Then I'll move it up to 1450, do 13 and 16, and then I'll finally do that one. Okay, now what do I need to adjust? Thank God for cheat sheets. Here's a 560. I need to do 10, 12, 15, and 17. It's in that order. 17 is the ferrite antenna, which I won't do now. I'll then shift it up to 1450, and I need to do 11, 13, and 16, and leave 18 for last. And then, of course, I've got that 14 to do on the 1 megahertz. Let's get started. I'll try and do this a little bit faster because it does take quite a long time. Well, we're all set. I've got everything set up. I've got the signal generator producing 560 kilohertz. Switch it on. Give it some volume. This is where it is peaking, and that's not 560. When I get closer, I can see that it's a little bit off. You can just see the little blip on there. I'm going to put it right on the blip. Now we're exactly spot on there. And we're not at a peak. That adjustment is just the volume control that I'm messing with. Just one more thing. I decided to try this on taking the AGC off, the automatic gain control. So it's on manual gain at the moment. And the whole idea is that when I adjust it, the AGC does not distort the audio that I'm listening to. It's actually coming through without the effect of automatic gain control. I think that works better. So let's go to the back and see what we need to adjust. The first one I need to adjust is the oscillator for 560, and that is this guy over here. So I'll give it some volume. Take it off speaker. Just checking it. Still a bit off. And that's it for 560. Change the signal generator to 1450. It is slightly off. And we adjust that one there. And we're done. Back to 560. We're spot on. Now I'm going to do 12 and 15. So the filter circuit and the antenna circuit for 560. 12 is that guy there. We got a little bit there. Lower the volume. And 15 is that guy there. I need to remove the wax. And we've peaked it. Up to 1,450. Give it a bit more volume. And I'm going to do 13, which is that guy here. Make sure I don't break any more little coils. A little bit more. Oh, you're getting quite a lot there. That's a peak. We got quite a bit out of that one. And now 16 is that tuning condenser down there. I need to break the seal with a metal screwdriver. Got a bit out of that one as well. Good. Now I'll set it to 1 megahertz. And I need to peak it at 14. 14 is that one here, which is also full of wax. No, it's not. Okay. Tune to 1 meg. Lower the volume. That's pretty spot on. But I tuned to the max anyway. So we'll adjust it and see how we get along. Just a teeny bit. And that's done. That's the medium wave done, with the exception of the ferrite antenna circuits. Good. One more step completed. Well, this section is going to be short and sweet. The next thing we need to do is to make the adjustments for the antenna circuit, the ferrite antenna circuit. So when this is selected, when the internal antenna is activated, there's a separate antenna circuit to the one we've just aligned. The one we've aligned is when we select the external antenna. Okay. Now, the thing about this ferrite antenna, it's got 2 coils on here, and you have to move them. And they're all really solid on here. They're waxed in place, so I'm not going to mess with them. And they're waxed in place for the low end of the frequency, both in the long wave and in the medium wave. So I've just gone ahead and done this. I've left the low end exactly as it is, and I've made adjustments for the top end, which is 9, which is over here, the top one there, and 18, which is the bottom one. So you go between long wave and short wave, long wave and medium wave. I've adjusted them. There was a slight improvement, not much. So I'm not going to go into the whole rigmarole of showing you the meter and everything else. So that is done. And that means that as far as we're concerned, that thing is done. That one was done completely. That one was presumed. That one was done completely. And we finished the long wave and medium wave. We now have the shortwave 1 and shortwave 2 to do. And what they tell us to do here is to connect this to the bottom of the antenna itself, to tune shortwave aerial circuits, the external antenna not depressed, signal generator is connected to the rod antenna connection. So we don't need to worry about that 68 picofarad capacitor. And I'm going to do these alignments exactly the same way as I've done those. I'm not going to video this whole thing. I'll show you the results at the end. If there's anything dramatic that comes up that I think is worthy of reporting, I'll record that and report back on that. All right, let me get on with it. This thing is bloody amazing. Look at this. 3.4. This is on shortwave 2. 3.4. It's exactly on 3.4. 3400. We'll go up to, what is it, 5? It's about a millimeter off the dial there, less than a millimeter. 5. Go to shortwave 1. First one is 3.4 megahertz, the high end. Absolutely spot on. The other one is 1.7. Absolutely spot on, 1701. Let's go to medium wave. Now medium wave should be on the external antenna. I've put it on the external antenna. .560, 561, spot on there, 560. We go to 1450. Just a third of a millimeter, if you can see that. Depends on which sort of angle you look at. I'm trying to look at it straight on. It's practically there. 1450, 1450, long wave. There it is. Now remember, long wave, you've got a bit of a bigger span, but the middle, 160, it says 161 on there. We'll try 370. Spot on there as well. 369 on the dial. So folks, I'm very satisfied with this. I'm glad this part is done. So I've done these bands over here, and now the part that's left is the drum tuning bands, the upper frequency shortwave bands. But that's been quite a task. This takes a heck of a lot longer to do than one might initially think, because you're trying to do it and you're trying to film it and then you forget to do things, and yeah, it's fun. I like it. All right, so that's been done. I'm going to complete the video for now. I'll come back when I have the video ready for the drum tuning section, the RF alignment of all that. So for now, I want to thank you for your company. And if you like that, please click like, share, subscribe, and all that jazz. And if you want to support the channel directly, you can do so on Patreon. Once again, thanks for watching. Bye for now and stay safe.